Right, welcome back to another one. Today we're gonna do something pretty cool, or something that silently ruins your life, your relationship, and your opportunities, right? Which is self-doubt. So self-doubt doesn't just live in your head, also lives in your body. Because like when you are constantly questioning yourself, you or your stress hormone or cortisol spikes, right? That stress response then suppresses your testosterone levels, which then directly impacts your confidence more, and your drive drops, and and how others perceive you drops. Everything just drops, right? Self-doubt silently ruins your confidence, your relationships, and your opportunities. Um, so as I said, it also spills into your relationship, your health, and your ambition. So let's break down exactly how it works and what you can do about it. So the question is, how does it ruin my life, my testosterone, and my relationships? Well, number one, let's just go over a quick overview. Is you're gonna have missed opportunities, overthinking everything, strained relationships, lack of confidence, uh, habits of low self-respect, fear of failure or success. We'll get into that one. That's pretty interesting too. Um, you can also start feeling powerless, right? So let's jump into the first one. The first one is missed opportunities. Because you doubt yourself, um, you miss massive amounts of opportunities in your life. You hesitate to take action, or to take the risks. You This one I'm guilty of massively myself. You talk yourself out of applying for the job you want, or even starting that project, or business you want to start. You basically just talk yourself out of everything. The girl you want to ask out, um, you know, talk yourself out of it. Um, you, Maybe at work you get invited to lead a project or to host an event or some kind of thing, but then because of your self doubt, you shrink back out of it, right? So life is giving you all these opportunities to play big, but because of your self doubt, you play small. And then that goes over into the next part, right? Which is your, sorry, it was just my wife had to get something. Uh, Overthinking and second guessing everything, right? So that it spills over into that because when you self doubt yourself, right? Obviously, self doubt, your mind turns into a war zone. Essentially, like you overthink the conversations, you obsess about how you came across. You replay moments in your head like bad highlight reels, right? You keep on, it goes over and over and over all these interactions. You overthink them. You like, what did I say, or why did I say that? Did I talk too much? Um, they they think I'm weird now, right? It doesn't stop there. Yeah, it doesn't just stop there. It goes over into like second guessing your decisions constantly, right? As I said, this is for me too. Uh, you second guess and you hesitate to make the choices because of your second guessing. So you make a choice and then immediately you question if it was the right one. You hesitate, you backtrack, and you look to the other people for assurance. You ask, was this okay? Did I mess it up? What do you think I should do? In an unsecure way, right? Obviously, if you're doing it in a secure way, you're asking for feedback on things that has a positive. Um, but this constant self-checking isn't harmless. Like you think it's harmless, but it isn't, right? It builds the anxiety and it drains energy and it reinforces this belief that you are untrustworthy. You can't trust yourself, right? And here's the trap: you try to be perfect, you avoid making mistakes, but then with this obsession of doing things perfect, you cause yourself to procrastinate, you avoid taking action, and you lose that momentum, right, that you build. So like, every day you basically you caught in a loop, and the loop is think, doubt, overthink, freeze, right? So again, that is think, doubt, overthink, and then freeze. You're stuck in this mental loop. It plays over and over and over and over in your mind, and this causes a mental burnout, and it kills your confidence insanely. You won't you. It's just insane. Um, then it goes from there, right? So obviously you go, then you've missed all these opportunities life, then you're overthinking and guessing yourself, so you drop even lower, and then it starts straining your relationships, right? It strains the relationships. It puts burden on your relationship because you fear the rejection. You become overly apologetic and passive, right? You're afraid to ruffle the feathers. You walk on eggshells, even when you're being disrespected. You don't when you don't trust yourself, you or your own voice, you start to have controlling or manipulative people start to gather around you. Um, you know, so like remember, people respect those who respect themselves and are clear and not confused. So if you're clear and not confused, people are gonna respect you. Then you've got the next part, which is lack of confidence in your own voice, which I touched on a bit in the strained relationships, right? So, you know, it comes through your voice, whether it is your inner voice or your outer voice. You speak softly, you hesitate to speak up, you might have some of the greatest ideas and things that could change your whole life, but you always downplay your ideas. You downplay your ideas, and on top of that, you don't take the initiative, right? In anything, you wait for permission, and this is also killing your testosterone. Um, when you do things like this, all of this, your behavior, your body language, your mind, all of this kills your testosterone when you don't have this confidence in yourself. Which then, so now you've got even more of lack of a confidence, right? And then you have habits of low self-respect. And what this is essentially is when you don't believe in yourself, it shows, and it's not just in your thoughts. It, as I said, but in your actions, right? You settle in your job, you in your relationship, in how you treat, um, how you treat your body and your time, right? It shows up. You don't push for more, because deep down you don't think you deserve more, and then this turns into habits, right? It goes into your habits because you start tolerating disrespect. You avoid the gym and working out or anything physically hard. You're in that comfort, and you eat junk instead of nourishing your body, right? Instead of eating whole foods, healthy foods, you eat junk food, you eat fast food, you eat a lot of sugar. Um, you say yes when you should or you want to say no. You avoid the tough conversations that would set boundaries and earn respect, right? These are all habits of low confidence. Why? Because speaking up feels uncomfortable, and avoiding it teaches people how to treat you, and they'll treat you small because that's how you treat yourself, right? Low self-respect isn't just a mindset; it's a lifestyle. Like in it's it's death by a thousand compromises, right? You keep compromising yourself until you become a husk of yourself, a shell of yourself, right? Which then goes to your fear. This one's pretty cool. This one's interesting. Took me a while to realize this in my own life. So, fear of failure or success, right? So, this is also like a massive one. The common one you hear about is like the fear of failing. That's the most common, like, yeah. But the one you don't hear as much or as much about, and is just as big as the fear of failing, is the fear of success, right? Because you doubt yourself, you sabotage your progress through it, um, to your progress and your success. So like, there's a small part of you that believes you're enough. It's there. It's very small. It's in the back. You can't really. It's not always there, but there's a small part that believes you know. But it's constantly crushed by this louder belief that you're feeding that you're not uh, enough, right? You're not enough. So you unconsciously make yourself fail, right? You believe you're not capable, and your comfort zone is the safety bubble that you have until, or you have built to prove to yourself or to hold you in that safety bubble that you built for that belief. And so, like, through that, you avoid commitment, you avoid responsibilities, because the belief in yourself is so low that the ideas of having other people believe in you, rely on you, feels suffocating, feels so difficult and uncomfortable. It's insane. Um, which then, all of that from the previous one, all these low confidences leads into like the husk of yourself, where you start feeling like number 7, which is feeling powerless, right? Life feels like it's happening to you because you doubt yourself instead of life happening through you, right? Instead of you getting up and making it happen, you wait for it. You wait for Lady Luck to come to your life, right? Or for some kind of sign that validates your waiting for happiness, and and you want that happiness to come from the circumstance instead of just creating it and being your own happiness. Right? So, like, real power comes from deciding and not doubting. Because self-doubt hurts your life, and it doesn't keep you safe like you think. It just keeps you small and weak, and throughout your life you're going to feel powerless because of that. So how do we shift from self-doubt to self-confidence? Well, there are 3 key steps I identified to start closing the self-doubt and the self-confidence gap for good. So let's look through. So you got reprogramming your self-talk. That's number 1. Then you have take small action, number 2. And 3, step number 3 is build evidence. So let's dive into the first one. So how do we fix this? First, you got to reprogram your self-talk. Believing in yourself is really important for your success, and it can be developed over time, right? Like, you got to believe in yourself. So this is great verse, um, and it's been out onto the popular mainstream and other books. But it's from the Bible. It's Proverbs 23 verse 7. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. I will say that again. As he thinketh in his heart, so is he. And this is a really, really powerful line. And it fits so well into the first step. And what does that line actually mean? It means that your dominant thoughts shape your reality. Your inner voice is either leading like a king or whining like a victim. You get to choose which one dominates, right? Which wolf do you feed? And the dominant thought right now is probably the victim one, and we want to reprogram it to the king one, right? So you got to identify. Well, how do you do this? So you identify the negative thought patterns. Like, am I good enough? Right? You replace them with the empowering beliefs, like, I got this. I can handle whatever is gonna come my way. No matter what happens, I can handle it. Right? And on top of that, of replacing that, you have to challenge the self-doubt thoughts. So, like, when you have a thought, like, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, ask yourself, is this thought objectively true? Right? Like, reinforce that positive affirmation based on the facts and past success. So, like, you gotta keep thinking, am I good enough? Why do I think I'm not good enough? Like, you gotta like, you gotta challenge it. Think, give yourself the reasons why you are and why you're not, and then, like, but look at the reinforced positive affirmations, right, based on the facts of past success, which then goes into the next one, which is step number 2. take small action or actions. What does that mean? So how do you eat an elephant? Right? One bite at a time. Same thing with confidence. It grows through action. So start by setting realistic goals. Right? Don't set unrealistic goals. Set realistic goals and then celebrate those small wins along the way. You start with a small goal or challenge, something that's outside your comfort zone, and you build momentum. And each small win adds and reinforces this belief that, hey, you are capable. And then you come up with a game plan. Right? Well, you take up a game plan with it. You take a goal, which is you can take a bigger one, right? And then you start breaking it down into smaller pieces, smaller chunks that you can handle, like the elephant. You can tweak it as you go, and as you grow, you can start tweaking it. It doesn't have to be set. You can shift it. Because remember, life happens. You will have to adjust at times, and that is, in my belief, what a balanced life means. It means is you balancing life between all the different areas. It's not like, oh, each one has its own place. No, you got to balance it, right? And that's what life actually means. So balancing. Then with the balancing, you don't make it don't use it as an excuse. Don't make it the excuse that you're going to use, right? And then with every win that challenge that old belief, it improves that new belief, right? Helps you shift from that self-doubt to the confidence. For example, you want to talk like a confident muscular man. Well, then start working backwards from the end goal. How does he carry himself? How does he speak? And his eye contact. Take eye contact, start holding eye contact with the person you're talking to for 3 to 5 seconds, and then keep building it up as you progress, right? Because if you don't like to keep eye contact, you look down all the time, start building progress. Look up. 1, 2, 3, look down. Start backwards, right? Build it down to the basics. And then that goes into key step number 3. Right? Key step number 3 is build evidence. I already briefly mentioned this in the take action section. Right? So let's take a deeper look. Confidence isn't just a feeling. It's accumulated or gained over time. So how do we build this evidence? Right? And the key thing is through repetition. Constantly practicing skills and exposing yourself to challenges, tracking the progress you make or you have made. Remember, the more you experience success, naturally, the more confident you become. Then that leads to, those are the 3 key steps, right? So what happens once you start implementing these, right? You start having real benefits of confidence. So let's talk about what's actually waiting for you in the other side of self-doubt. Because confidence doesn't just make you feel better, right? It transforms how you move through life. Right? And here's what starts to change, right? So number 1, you trust yourself. That means you stop guessing every move, you make decisions, and you own them. No need for the permission. You're okay with being wrong. You know you'll figure it out. You take action faster. No more waiting for the perfect line. You start things even before you're ready. You build momentum by doing, not overthinking. Then you stop people pleasing, right? Number 3, you stop people pleasing. You set boundaries and you keep them. You stop over explaining, seeking approval. You earn real respect, not just temporary attention. And then you can start handling, which is number 4, you can start handling rejection like a champ, right? Failure doesn't destroy you. Criticism doesn't paralyze you. You see rejection as redirection and not a verdict on your worth. You show up fully, which is number 5. You show up fully as yourself, right? You remove the masks. You don't shrink in to fit into other things. Fake personality. You're just grounded, honest, and powerful, which then you create more opportunities, right? Number 6, you create more opportunities. You speak up. You go after what others dream about. You become someone people want to work with or follow and invest with. Your mental health improves. Like Jim Carrey said this. It might not be exactly the way he said it. I can't remember, but it left such an impression with me. Depression is your body saying, "I don't want to play this role or play this character anymore," and that hit me so hard because confidence lets you drop the role whenever you meant the role you were never meant to play, right? Because you will have less anxiety, you have that less inner war, more peace, more purpose. Okay, this is not for me. Let's change. You will change. You become, and this is another bonus. Like, you become more attractive. Your energy shifts. Your eye contact sharpens. Your body language just speaks strength, confidence, comfortable. He's comfortable in his own skin, and like people feel it. They respond differently because you see yourself differently. So yeah, the final word. So the final part. You are the main character of your life, right? Main character energy. I don't know what is all this nonsense online. I've heard about it. I don't care about it. You are the main character in your life. So stop waiting, stop doubting, and start deciding, right? And how do you do that again? You reprogram yourself to take more actions or small actions, build the real evidence. If you do these three things constantly, watch who you become. Right? So, are you ready to stop letting self doubt ruin your life? Gonna do a small plug here. If you're done playing small and you want to start showing up with real confidence, let's talk. Uh, we can talk about building self respect, leadership, and masculine presence. You know, it isn't just a casual conversation, it's focused sessions. You get accountable partner, someone that goes through with it with you, and you start getting clear on what's holding you back and what to do next. Uh, Check out the questionnaire down below to work with me one on one. Yeah, apply if you're ready. No fluff, just clarity. Right, that's it. Comment down below what you think. Do you have any of these that you're implementing in your life? How far are you in the journey? See you in the next one. Cheers.